Hey guys, welcome to Trailer Tuesday. So the trailer for Pete's Dragon has been released, and I have some thoughts. But let's break down a few things before we get to what I think about this trailer. In case you guys didn't know, Pete's Dragon was originally a Disney film that came out in 1977. Now this film blended live action and animation, but obviously not like very good animation. It was the beginning of stuff, so it was like hand-drawn in animation on top of like the film strips and stuff like that. It was combined the film and the animation together. By the way, the dragon in Pete's Dragon is actually named Elliot. He looks like this in the original cartoon. I call it a cartoon because he was a cartoon. It was Pete's Dragon, he was a cartoon. But he looked like this, and it was also a musical, but because, it's Disney. Now we're going to be getting a new version of Pete's Dragon, obviously. It's going to be coming out later this year in August. It definitely got a much-needed update compared to the original 1977 version. But there are some thoughts that I have about this film that are concerning me and already frustrating me, even though this film doesn't come out for another few months. Let's first talk about something that I actually liked about this trailer, which was the visuals. The scenery looks absolutely amazing. The whole forest looks super awesome. The story looks pretty intriguing. Speaking of the visuals, by the way, when I first saw Elliot, the dragon, he looks pretty awesome. But when I first saw his face, I couldn't help but think about Falkor from Neverending Story, this guy right here. For some reason, I think they made the dragon's face more like dog-like to try and not necessarily scare kids, like make it seem a little like he was a friendly dragon. They didn't want to go like Game of Thrones or like any like badass dragon like from The Hobbit or anything like that to scare kids. So I think they kind of gave it like a more dog-ish type of face to make it a little bit more friendly. The story looks like a fun little adventure. Pete is this little boy who gets found in like this forest by looks like a park ranger or something like that. And he sort of gets taken in. He sort of gets like this Tarzan treatment where he has to sort of deal with having to live in like a modern society, I suppose, as opposed to the forest with Elliot. And this is basically a struggle with balancing his new life and the real world, I guess you would call it, and his life that he had led with Elliot in the forest. But it looks pretty interesting story-wise. It has me intrigued. But there is one major concern about this story and this trailer that frustrates me. Now, my biggest issue with this trailer was that they gave away too much, as most trailers nowadays do. Now, my biggest problem with the story that at least they portrayed in this trailer is Karl Urban's character. Now, I love Karl Urban, but the way they portray it and the story that I know that they're going to tell frustrates me because it's been told 1,000 times. Basically, when Pete tells everyone about Elliot or those closest to him about Elliot, Karl Urban somehow finds out. I don't know if he stumbles across him in the forest. I don't know if it's going to be something more along the lines of Elliot told him or somebody that Elliot told, or excuse me, Pete, sorry, that Pete told about Elliot and somebody told him about it. But basically, Karl Urban is going to be essentially the villain of this film. He basically just wants to hunt, kill, or capture Elliot for just because he seems dangerous, even though he has no idea if he's dangerous or not. Again, this story has been told 1,000,000 times. I really don't want to see it again. I don't really want to see Karl Urban being the one that takes on that role. I've seen it 1,000,000 times. I like Karl Urban. Putting the two together just makes for a bad mix. I don't want to see that. I do think it's intriguing, the story of Elliot and Pete, because if you think about it, they have to sort of struggle with living in the forest and living in modern society. They have to kind of balance it. I think the antagonist, instead of being Karl Urban, should be their relationship. It should be how they balance each other. It should be whether, they decide Elliot stays in the forest and Pete follows and goes and stays with him in the forest, or they let go of each other. Pete goes into society and Elliot goes back into the forest. I think that should be the main struggle here. Kind of do like a Disney Pixar thing, where like in Finding Dory, which I just did a review for yesterday, there is no villain in this film. The villain is Dory's adventure. It's her memories. It's her adventure to find her parents. I think that's something that Pete, I keep getting them mixed up, that Pete should be doing, because with no antagonist, it opens for a wider story. It makes it more interesting of a story. Maybe introduce a villain later, another Falkor-looking dragon guy that comes and threatens them or something like that if this movie is successful enough for a sequel. But don't make it Carl Urban wants to hunt Elliot down, kill him, capture him, all that stuff. It's been overused so many times. Just because he doesn't understand doesn't mean he needs to hunt, kill him. It feels like I'm watching Frankenstein, the kids version. And I don't want to watch Frankenstein, the kids version with a big dragon. I just don't want to see it. But I am trying to remain semi-optimistic. The story looks kind of interesting. I like the little bit of a joke that they had at the end of the trailer. I think it definitely looks interesting. So I may check it out. I haven't decided yet. I'm kind of on the fence. This story thing that I feel is in there, I don't want to see it. So I'm kind of on the fence about this film. I left a link to the trailer down in the description box below. Give that a watch. Come back on here. Leave a comment in the comment section down below about what you think about this trailer. Do you think that the story is going to go how I said, like it's going to be about Carl Urban being the main villain and they kind of have to balance Pete and Elliot and Elliot's on the run kind of thing? Like, I don't know what's going to happen in this movie, but that's what it feels like to me. Maybe it's a bait and switch and they'll have a fun adventure. I don't know. Maybe there'll be a musical number like in the original. But like I said, leave a comment down below what you think about this trailer after you've watched it. That's pretty much all I have for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Like always, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos, and we'll see you in the next one.